What is happening, guys? Mike here. Welcome back to the channel for an all-new video. Today we got something very exciting for you. Today we're taking a look at the newest drop from Shear Revival. We're going to be taking a look at the all-new Gray Ghost, and I'm going to be giving you guys everything you need to know before its release this Friday. I am super excited for today's video. We got a lot to cover, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So let's jump right into it. This is the scoop, Gray Ghost. Alright guys, once again, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to run a bit long, and for that reason I am going to skip the subscriber spotlight for today. I will pick that up again in the next review, but we have a ton of info to present and demos to go through. There's a lot to cover. I just didn't think we could fit all that and the subscriber spotlight in the video for today and just make it super long. I thought we'd just cut it out. Another reason for that is we're also going to be taking a look at the collab real quick from Shear Revival and Firsthand, the Glory Tale. I know a lot of you were curious about that one, so I got that to talk about in this video as well. So again, there's just a lot to cover. So I think it's best that we just jump right in, get started, make the best use of our time that we can. So let's start by getting a closer look at the Gray Ghost. Here we go. Coming across my desk today is the newest release from Shear Revival, the Gray Ghost Cream Pomade. According to the brand, the new Gray Ghost is a stronghold cream pomade that is their strongest and most versatile formula to date. It is a vegan formula and offers a stronghold with natural shine and is designed for both dry and damp hair styling. It also features the standard citrus cypress scent and comes in a standard 4-ounce amber glass jar for $17 US. Looking inside the jar, we get our first look at this new product. Keep in mind, this is not a clay, so it is white in appearance, and as the name suggests, it is creamy coming out of the jar, but it's definitely not lotion-like, which is still good. Its scoop and breakdown is both nice and creamy, and as it breaks down, you do get a bit of that tack beginning to appear there, giving you a nice little preview of what's to come as you apply it into your hair. Now, in case you guys didn't catch it by now, this product carries a Batman theme, specifically Batman the Animated Series, which probably was my favorite show as a young child. I love that they chose to go with that, and in talking with the brewer, they even actually set the clock here on the artwork for the exact time that the show would come on for him as a child, so really, I thought that was awesome. That being said, we do need to see this in action, though. That's really what things boil down to, as we all know, with a new product, and as usual, I'm going to be starting the demo here with my preferred styling method, which of course is dry hair. As always, I'm starting here with freshly washed and blow-dried hair with no added pre-stylers, sprays, or tonics. Adding this into my hair is overall quite easy, as it's a lightweight and creamy product that doesn't actually have too much tug or pull based on the fact that it's not meant to be dry at all. It does though have a little bit of tack to it, so the tug isn't totally gone, but it's not the same kind of tug that we would get from, say, a dry clay product or a dry matte paste. We actually have something kind of different here for this line, which shows up in the form of a slight dampening waxy effect. You can actually see there in my hair. You can see it in the pieces that look slightly darker than the rest. Those are the pieces that are actually slightly firming up as soon as the product hits the hair, which is somewhat of an interesting effect to use, especially because it doesn't actually affect the comb like I expected it would. The comb still slides nicely through and doesn't actually get caught up in the hair despite the slight firming up, which in turn results in a nicely sculpted and smooth style. Honestly, it was kind of surprising to see it firm up like it did, but I want to be clear, it only slightly firmed up, basically just enough to be noticeable in dry hair. It doesn't actually go beyond that, meaning it doesn't actually gel up anymore as time goes on, like say a gel type would, which is something that I actually appreciated because unless I'm using a gel type or a product that's supposed to harden, I don't actually prefer my products to harden up in my hair. Endurance-wise, it did go through a bit of a settling though with that hardening. It did kind of settle out a little bit, And we can get a look at that here real quick as we take a peek at our style and the endurance test for the day. Here we are 4 hours into the test. We got just a tiny bit of loosening that we can see here in the style. It's such a tiny amount that I wouldn't even call it deflating yet at this point. I just think it settled up a little bit, and in that settling it just kind of loosened a little bit. I think this is even more evident in the style at 8 hours, where I definitely say that we not only loosened up but deflated as well. As usual though, at this stage in the game I am able to restyle it pretty easily by just using my fingers here, and that actually shows how much of that hold is still available even at 8 hours in. I gotta say, with that endurance test, I do think that heat had a little bit of influence on the test. It was about 90 degrees Fahrenheit here where I was testing, and I think, understandably, it did have some influence on the deflating and maybe the loosening that we saw there at the end of the 8 hours. I also think as far as that hardening goes, it does sort of settle out there a bit too, but I'll touch on that more in my final thoughts, because real quick now, we do need to move on to the damp hair squad and give them a look at how this is going to work for them. Because this product is very creamy and not extremely tacky and sticky, more is needed to style on damp hair. In my case, double the amount of product is actually needed, and I'll add that I was also using larger scoops here as well. Once I got those scoops added in, I then felt like I was able to style and get some hold. It still wasn't extremely present in my hair, but I didn't want to add any more product in because I had a feeling it was already going to harden up pretty good once the water evaporated out of my hair, and plus I was still able to get what I thought to be a decent style here. Really, I think adding it into damp hair was very easy for me, but it was hard to get the hold needed for my thick hair. But like I said, I didn't want to overdo it, and it turns out I was right to be cautious on that, and I'll show you here what I mean. Here's a look 4 hours after, and it's completely dry at this point, and it's hardened up a lot. It's still not quite on the level of gel type, but it's definitely hardened up. To be fair though, the style does actually look pretty good, so I wouldn't consider this a total loss. It should come to no surprise to anyone that, once again, I think damp styling for me, while still functional, just wasn't as good as the dry hair test. It hardened up a lot more, and I just didn't really care for the look of it. I will say also in my testing that I noticed that this is the case for most products actually. The damper or wetter your hair is when you apply, the more hardening you get. So you can kind of control the level of hardening that you get with this product and most products based on how wet your hair is. But again, I just prefer to utilize the product's strengths and just go with dry hair. I really think for me, and I think for a lot of you out there, dry hair will work better with this product because I think it works alongside the hair's natural volume, and it kind of just binds to it and allows you to shape it like a good pomade should. As far as actually pre-styling goes, I don't think this was designed to be a good pre-styler. I did try it, but I just really didn't think it was valuable in that area. The blow dryer, I think, makes the shine stand out a little bit more, and it kind of made the hair a little bit more oily, didn't give it volume. Just some of those things that I look for in a pre-styler, so I don't think that's a knock against this product. I don't think it was designed to be a pre-styler, and I don't think it works as such, but I knew you guys were curious about that, so I went ahead and tried it. I just don't think it works that great as a pre-styler. Before we get any further with the Gray Ghost though, and I offer you guys my final thoughts on that, I did get a lot of requests to take a look at the collaborative product between Shear Revival and First Hand Supply, the Glory Tail. This is a vegan clay made by these two fantastic brands, and I think it was designed really well label-wise. I think it looks awesome. The smell of it is awesome, and today you're actually going to witness my first experience with the product. I was planning to give it more of an extensive test for you guys, but to be honest, the post office decided to deliver it 2 days later than expected, so this is actually the first chance that I've got to actually style with it, so I figured what the heck, I'll give you guys a look at it. I can tell you it is very creamy in presentation. It breaks down very smooth and lightweight, and that really transfers to what we see in the hair as well, which is smooth application, great hold, great texture, and it really results in just a great high volume, high texture, great finish, really smooth style. Now again, because the Postal Service decided to just drop the ball and get this to me 2 or 3 days late, I didn't get the chance to test it out like I wanted to, but I can tell you for me, this is just a very nicely done, smooth, dry clay. It's got everything that we tend to love in clay or matte paste. I think it kind of reminded me actually of a drier version of the Northern Lights from Shear Revival. The breakdown and hold is kind of similar, and I hope that gives you guys more of an idea as to how this one performs and acts. As far as the dryness goes, I can tell you in my experience it's not as dry as the O'Dowd's matte paste, and I believe the scent is actually the same as the line scent from Shear Revival. Yeah, it smells pretty much the same to me as the Gray Ghost, but you know, I have a bad nose. I could be totally wrong, but for me it smells pretty much the same as the Gray Ghost and the rest of the Shear Revival line products. Again, I know it's not as much info as usual. I still hope that you guys found that helpful. It is a limited, so I didn't feel quite as bad about not putting it through the entire review process that I do with regular line products. I did want to give you guys a little more, like an endurance test and things like that, but again, the Postal Service was just way late on that. But moving back over to the Gray Ghost, I think this is a very cool product. I'm not sure for me it reaches that stronghold threshold or the stronghold realm. I think for people with thinner hair, you might actually get closer to that stronghold level. But for me and probably other thick-haired people, I'm not sure if it's gonna get fully into that stronghold. You do get a solid medium out of it for sure, maybe even a little bit above that. I do think that this is going to be useful for folks of all hair types. It works really well in the hair in that aspect. As far as comparisons, you know, I don't really like to do all that, but I know you guys need it to kind of function. So compared to Northern Lights, this to me is slicker and not dry really at all. It's a little bit dry, but not really dry as far as I think compared to other things that are really dry. This one is really tame in the dryness department. I think it for sure has more hold than Northern Lights as well. It's really got more hold than that. Compared to Crystal Lake, again, I think it's got better hold. I think it's got better control, and really I think it just tops Crystal Lake pretty much all over. I think it gives a way better style in my hair than that one does for sure. Also, I've been thinking about this for a couple days too. I think that something like this is what I expected from the Moon Paste from Nostalgic. I think that when I first saw it advertised, I kind of had something like this in mind, and then obviously it didn't end up being like that. I think this one for sure tops that, and that's, you know, not a knock against Nostalgic. I just think that this one performs a little better in my hair, and the firm hold Moon Paste as well. I think this one for me worked a little bit better than that one as well. I think it produces great polished looks, and you can easily mess it up for slightly looser styles, but for me, the polished looks it provides was really where I enjoyed this the most. For that reason, I really wouldn't compare it to any other product, and I think trying to do so would be pretty much a waste of time, and I think the style should really speak for itself with this one. That being said, the washout here is great. It washed out with just water. I know everyone will appreciate that, and I really appreciated it. I thought it was a great design in that aspect. And the scent, again, nice. It's light, it's refreshing, no complaints in that department. I think it's well done. And I think that should pretty much cover it, or at least I hope it does. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to try and answer what I can. Again, comparisons are kind of worthless, but performance-wise, I hope you guys at least got a good enough look at this one to try and help you decide if it's worth it for your hair or not. This one does release this Friday, September 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and I actually do now have a coupon code available for you guys for the Shear Revival site, which is awesome. That will be in the description for you guys, along with all the other channel discount codes to help you guys save a little money. Thank you again so much for checking out today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button for me, and if you haven't yet already subscribed to the channel, you definitely need to do that. I will of course be back with you guys again very soon, and until then, take it easy. I'll see you next time.